Live. Greetings, class. This is the show where we try to keep Dan Borrero awake because he gets
Damn.
because last week
You
his
got me good on
booty, his
that
booty. I can't curse because they'll mess the video up. His
one.
booty fell asleep during the dago live. And what we try to teach y'all is real estate investing. And when he falls asleep, we gotta wake him up. So y'all
Last week was a rough week, man. No, that was last week.
this is the Keep Dan Barrero Awake show. So, greetings, class. What's going on? I'm Kris Haskins. I'm going to be your co pilot for today as we talk to you about real estate investing and what Dan and I are doing, and just to kind of help you. If you want to come on live, I'll put the link in the video in the chat. Come on live with us to answer your questions regarding real estate investing. It's right there in the chat. Before we get started, I got to thank my man Derek Johnson. Thank you, Derek. It is an honor. I am humbled to be your servant. Thank you for being one of my members. You help me continue to come on live because we don't make a penny on this stuff. So thank you so much for being one of our channel supporters. And anybody else that wants to support, there's a link right below. It's like two Starbucks coffee a month just to help me to bring people like Dan on. Dan Borrero, what up?
What's going on, Mr. Haskins?
Man, I'm on top of the world, bro. I'm on top of the world. Literally, I'm on top of the world. So you saw interest rates?
You know what, man? I really don't pay attention. I pay attention when I see like massive movement, like a point, 2 points. But what is it now? I think I was just seeing something today. 30-year mortgage is 6.5, 6 and 5/8.
Well, I'm more or less talking about, well, not necessarily interest rates per se. What I'm more or less talking about is the headlines. Oops. U.S. job market data bolsters Fed's no rate cut. No rate cut. And I just want to make sure we understand what's going on here, y'all.
So I just read an article today where somebody sent it to me and I kind of laughed.
What did it say?
That the job market, they were expecting $200,000 job increase, and they got 275,000. And
Okay.
when they sent me this, it was kind of funny because it was coming from Fox News. So, guys, I am not making a political statement here because I don't believe that either party really looks out for our benefit. All right.
Hey, no.
But the reality is if you have CNN talking something about Trump, or you have Fox News talking something good about Biden, that means it's pretty damn hard for them. It's not to deny the truth, right? When you have 200, and then they kept saying, we can't believe it. Every quarter it keeps going up more and more and more than the estimate, right? The reality is that we are in a booming economy. For the first time in 45 years, our economy is outpacing China's economy.
Thank God.
So for the first time in 50 years, we have the lowest unemployment rate. And what's really astonishing about the unemployment rate today is that it also cuts across gender and race. So people of color, we have the lowest unemployment rate among people of color. We have the lowest unemployment rate amongst women. We have the highest amount of rate of women opening up businesses and being successful at it, right? So when you have that kind of a booming economy, the government is primarily concerned about the inflation rate, right? Which the reason they raise the interest rates is because that's one of the tools that the government, Federal Reserve has, besides, of course, buying bonds or putting out more bonds, right? So, they have to keep the rate. And people are saying high, and Kris Haskins and I, this is just normal rates, is what we think. They're not high rates.
I'm happy.
So the reality is that, they can't lower the interest rates. When they were talking about lowering interest rates, that 3 times this year, 4 times, I'm like,
how? As much as inflation is, Dan, I'm thinking, you know how much I'm paying?
I could see it happening if Biden puts enough pressure on the Federal Reserves, because it's not politically good to get reelected if the rates are what people consider to be high. right?
What I don't understand, Dan. How do we have the audacity to say that 6% is high? I mean, I don't know where is this coming from?
Look, most people don't realize is, let's say you're paying 8%, right? After you deduct that 8% interest that you're paying on that property, because you get a tax benefit from that. The reality is, what are you really paying? 5.75, 6.25.
Yeah,
It's cheap money.
cheap money, y'all.
My first mortgage was 17.9%,
Yeah.
and I still did it.
So look, Roundup, get your questions in, but I got to show y'all something I have to share with this. I'm so honored. Ooh, is this it here? Look at this, y'all. This was at my house today.
Tell everybody who that is.
Damon Dash was at the crib, y'all. He comes to my house. I get the chance to interview Damon Dash. Can y'all believe this? You guys are the first
Yo,
one
look
seeing
how
this.
happy your wife is in that picture.
Yeah, she was. We were. Where's my? Yeah, my wife got dressed up, and can y'all believe this?
She's happy, boy. Look at her. Yeah, that's
Can-
right. I'm here.
yeah, she was ecstatic. So we got the man Dame in the building. He shows up with a security detail, y'all.
How is his personality, man?
Oh, so laid back, dog. I mean, it was just, you're talking about a real boss man, and he's talking about love, and he's talking about family, and just, that's one of his security guys there. I don't know what was in this little sack right here. I kept wondering, I'm like, he must have some type of weapons in here. No doubt something that he can get real quick. He keeps that sack right there on his chest. But this is crazy, man. So what else I got? I haven't even showed the pictures yet, y'all. I just had to show that. I'm sorry, Dan.
Nah, man. Tell everybody why he was there.
I got an interview with Dame Dash today, y'all. Today. So it actually happened today. He came in town for another conference, and I was able to catch him while he was here. So we're just honored to be able to bring his content to the Roundup Network, and hopefully I'll be able to do some stuff with him in the future. Who knows? Yeah, man.
I got to say, so we were talking about this on Instagram, and I don't want this to fall short on YouTube. The reality is, since I've known Kris, he's gotten two major heavy hitters to do some live interviews with him. And one of them was Patrick Bet-David and, of course, Damon Dash. So my point is, it wouldn't have happened unless. So Kris could have said, hey, these two guys are so big, why would they ever talk to me?
Yeah.
But he didn't do that. Kris, tell him what you did, man.
I just tried it, man. I did think that they wouldn't talk to me. Both of them. I thought, why would they talk to me, right? I mean, but then I just said, I have nothing to lose, Dan. I got zero to lose. If I don't ask, that's no. And if I do ask and they say no, then it doesn't matter. So all I can say is no. Just like what, both of us, we make offers on houses. You were talking the other day. I mean, earlier, you knocked on doors to see who was out there. So I'm like, you tried, and shit it comes to life, but you gotta be willing to just try, put yourself out there.
The one thing that would definitely have happened if Kris didn't try was nothing.
Nothing. That's right.
Nothing.
See if I got one more. What did I take? He comes in the building. And what's weird, Dan, he's like one of my first guests in the podcast. I didn't tell you, I sent him a picture of my podcast studio. I think that's what closed the deal.
Do you have a picture of the podcast studio?
Let me see what I got.
Or of him in the podcast?
I think studio? I might.
What is that? His assistant next to him?
Yeah, I think she's in charge of the social media stuff. That's a security detail, one guy. On the phone with another guy. My dog is trying to. Let me see. I guess I didn't get the. Oh, yeah, that's the best I got there. Wide shot. That's my camera guy there. So he still loves the bookshelf. Love the bookshelf.
I love it.
That Dame here, y'all. So, all right. I'm sorry. I had to just share that with y'all, man. I feel like I'm sharing it with y'all. It's crazy. So interest rates was one thing, Dan. What else happened? Anything interesting happened this week?
Not that I know of. I mean, look, the reality is this, man. We get up. I've had my head
in taxes.
Share this with everybody. Taxes, guys.
Oh God, I can't.
These are just income and statements. These are profit and loss statements. These are balance sheets. These are the last 3 income tax returns I have to do for my businesses. I've already done the majority of them. But I have a 3-hour meeting with my accountant tomorrow. But to be prepared,
You got to be prepared when you get
I
there.
actually had to prepare this paperwork and then develop my questions. So that's another 2 to 3 hours. And today was Sunday, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I got a little late today. I went to brunch with my family and spent time. But think about it, I still put in 3 hours.
Damn.
I'll put in another 3 hours tonight after this live.
Good Lord.
Because I want to make sure I'm prepared for the rest of the week. But I'll give you a quick story, Chris. So I have this property in Brooklyn, New York that I actually put on the market at a ridiculous number. I didn't think I was going to get it, and it's been on the market about 5 months, and someone just gave me my offer.
So what is it worth, and what were you asking?
I don't think I wouldn't pay more than 1 million for it. Maybe the most 1,050,000. I'm getting about 1.25.
So 200,000 more. What is the appraisal value going to be?
It's not going to get appraised because it's a cash deal, and if it did appraise out, it probably would not appraise out at more than $1 million.
So basically, I want y'all to understand that this is so important. Dan would not even buy the real estate that he's selling, right?
No.
And Dan's been doing this longer than me. This is a huge point. Explain this. Explain that, Dan.
So they're buying the value because at the cap rate, it's about a negative 3% cap rate.
Oh my Lord, that is embarrassing.
Right, but what they're buying is the assumed cap appreciation of the property over the next 10 years, 10 to 15 years.
What makes it?
It's in Brooklyn, New York, and the numbers are just ridiculous.
And
yeah, exactly.
And,
but they're also buying.
Let's stay there for a minute. People kill me with this. It's in this city. It's this. What does that got to do with me and my money and my offer?
Again, to me and you, that's the way we think.
I'm like, you crazy as hell.
Exactly. But they're giving me the number. I don't really know what their strategy is, but I got to be honest with you. I was a little concerned when they gave me my number. So I was like, hold on a second. Is there something here happening I'm not aware about?
Mm-hmm.
So I get on the phone with the community board director. Anybody pulling any permits here or any rezoning in the area that I'm not aware of? No, Dan, you
think something's coming in.
Yeah, I'm like, I called my architect and my expediter. I says, listen, when you're at the buildings department, are you hearing anything that's happening down on Park Avenue area?
Dave and Buster's or some major type of development coming?
Like, nah, we would have heard something if something major was coming in. We, everybody at the buildings department, we talk to each other, especially the expediters, right? Call the councilman person. Hey, I own such and such. Is anything happening down that I don't need? No, Mr. Borrero. So I was like, all right, I'll do the deal. So my realtor calls me up. He says, listen, you have some violations on this property. I said, what do you mean I got violations on the property? He says, yeah, you got 3 open violations. I said, since when? He says, since 2009. So I said to him, you sure about that? And I pull him up. So on Friday, I actually get a hold of somebody in the buildings department. He says, well, yeah, you cleared those violations in 2001, but we had an examiner come in 2009 and they reissued them because we want more clarification.
Oh my goodness.
So I want everyone to understand this business. We have a lot of when you're dealing with multifamily businesses, and if you're in a major city, you're dependent on bureaucrats for whether they do their jobs or not do their jobs. Now, I actually had to. This was on Wednesday. For Wednesday, that same day I was like, you know what, this is way too much work. So I called my expediter and I said, this is my problem. How do we resolve it? $1,200 later. Let me just show. This is another thing I was working on yesterday and today. This is the paperwork that I have for those violations. Only 3 bullshit violations. These are the checks I got to go with. And I'm going to spend probably a half a day in the buildings department and at HPD, downtown Brooklyn, resolving this. And it's going to cost me about another $1,500 in fees and fines, and hope and pray to God that they give me an inspection within the next 30 days.
Oh, they got to get you a city inspection to clear the violations?
Yeah, to come and verify that I actually did the work. So
Wow,
now, I'll
that's
say something.
oh my
In
God.
2000 and 2001, I was in the process of evicting a tenant, and that tenant was a Section 8 tenant, and that tenant called up multiple agencies to get me violations and trying to intimidate me into leaving her there. So my argument was, why in God's name do you want to stay in such a terrible building and fight with me if it's the living conditions are that bad? Well, so they gave me all these violations. They were bullshit violations. Not you need another light bulb. Instead of having 2 light bulbs in the fixture, you need 3 light bulbs. Uh,
Mm,
the ceiling in the hallway on the first landing has to be painted. Yes, there's no marks on it, but we want it whiter. Uh,
mm.
just the dumbest little things, right? So I addressed them all in 2001, and I got them all removed. There was over 30 violations from this one tenant. One of the things tenants will do when they want to screw you up and you're evicting them, they're calling up the housing department, they're calling up the environmental department, they're calling up the buildings department. They're trying to make your life difficult, right? So I got them all removed, and some examiner 8 years later determines that those 3 violations that were removed should be reissued for better clarification. And they're saying, we notified you. I said, if you notified me, I would have addressed it.
They sent you a letter.
Where? Oh,
Yeah, we don't know. They probably don't even have record of it.
no. So,
Basically, you have to satisfy this.
you can't, there won't be a title company that'll give the buyer clear title without having this resolved. Now, I know that. So I've already sent everything to my attorneys. The attorneys now in New York, it's unlike down south where you could do everything with just title companies. When you go to a closing table in New York, there's like 6 people at this closing table.
Which is pathetic, by the way.
Pathetic.
That's pathetic.
And everybody,
you paying for them all.
everybody's robbing you. This closing, how much you think this closing is going to cost me?
I would probably say 50,000.
$72,000.
Then, yeah, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you.
But again, so these are the things that
hold up, Dan. You got equity. What about somebody that owed $1.1 million and was selling it for $1.2 million? What is going to happen? You got $100,000 of profit there, and obviously we got fees.
Gone.
Yeah, you get nothing, right?
They're walking away with $28,000.
But see, you got realtor fees too.
That's everything with and my realtor, there's only a 3% commission on this.
So
right?
if you got to have almost $200,000 to make money of equity up there to get rid of that deal.
Yeah, the normal real estate fee should have been at least 5%. But I do a lot of business with this particular realtor, and I'm like, you know what, man, I'm paying 3%. If that's not enough for you, not a problem. I'll slap a sign on the building and sell it myself. And they know that I don't have a problem doing that, right? But for 3%, and I don't have to go show that place or talk to a bunch of people on the phone.
I don't want to do that.
I'll pay the 3%.
Get your questions in the chat, y'all. Get your questions or come on live with us here. The link to come on live is right in the
that
chat
story
there.
That we just discussed. I just dropped so much knowledge.
Give us a like. Give us a follow.
I hope the audience truly appreciates the information that we're providing. How many people are on here right now, Chris?
50. But it's crazy when you say, even for me, I'm like, man, I wouldn't buy that for sure. It's crazy. Dan, I just think old geezers, like, we know the prices we paid for them. So our barometers and thermometers are off a little bit. I think the value of the dollar is down so much that it's kind of hard for us to justify what people are paying for stuff.
Yeah, I have a hard time with it still, to be honest with you.
Me too, Dan.
I would never.
I'm not doing it.
I would never do it.
I think that's because we've been in, well, I don't know about you. I've been in so many bad deals. I'm like, man, yeah, you crazy. You can have it. I'll go look for something else.
Yeah, but you know what, Chris? It's funny. So the buyer didn't know I was the owner. He thought I was a super when I showed up because they needed. Just so happens, my realtor calls me up. He says, "Hey, Dan, can we get into the basement where your super let us in?" I said, "Listen, I happen to be around the corner. I'll open up the basement. Don't tell them I'm the owner. I'm the super."
Yeah, you don't want people to know that because the owners can make exceptions.
Right. So he said, "Okay, that'll work." and I opened up with that. I don't then they come up from the basement. They went to the boiler room, and he says to me, he says, "How long you been working for this guy?" I said, "My whole adult life."
Give us a like and a follow. All right, that story is done. Then it made me mad listening to that. Jackie, Dan, she wants to know, Dan, would you buy properties in New York City now? Dan wouldn't even rent to himself.
I don't
Much
know.
less
That's a tough.
buying.
I'll tell you what. I would buy it if I could get it at like 50 to 60 cents on the dollar.
But that's how you buy real estate anyway. I mean, what? There's no difference. Does it
Yeah,
matter?
I probably have to be at 50 cents on a dollar. Look, the reality is this: doing business in the city of New York as a landlord is horrifying. I did a consultation with a person today that he's actually been in the process of trying to get out his tenant in Queens 26 months without collecting rent.
Did he have a mortgage?
He does have a mortgage, and he's pulling money out of his pocket. He doesn't know how much longer he could do it because it's a
He's screwed.
two-family house.
He's screwed.
So, not
What does he
including
do, Dan?
not including the legal fees. So he's he's upset because the judge finally agreed to kick them out and sign a warrant. It took the judge 8 weeks to sign a warrant, right? So now they signed the warrant, and he goes to the marshal, and the marshal says it's going to be another 3 to 4 weeks because he doesn't have time to do it, right? So he went to a different marshal, and he got the same exact thing.
So let's stay here for a minute, Dan. Let's stay here for a minute. Even I think people need to understand this. Even when the judge gives you possession of your own property, you still might be 60 to 90, 120 days up there, Dan? I don't know.
And that's assuming they don't go back to court
and fight it.
Because this happens to me a lot, and say, hey, listen, I live with my mother. My mother's sick. She can't move tomorrow. And get a stay. Now the marshal tells you, hey, we got to stay. We can't evict tomorrow morning. I said, what do you mean? So now I call my attorney. My attorney says, yeah, I just got the notice from the courts. We got to go back to court in 2 weeks. Maybe 3 weeks, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Right? So the system in the city of New York is so against landlords that I don't know if I would do it even at 50 cents on a dollar.
Would they say y'all made enough money, Dan?
So I think it's different. I think what's happening is the reality is there's a whole lot more tenants than there are owners, and so the politicians are
going to get reelected.
They want to get reelected. They got to comply with what the tenants want, right?
That's true.
So, I think that I personally think because the laws that they keep coming out with make absolutely no sense. But there is somebody just sent me the article 2 days ago. I haven't read it yet. That basically says there's this one guy who's now suing the city of New York housing court for infringing on his rights to profit from his properties because he's got so many tenants that haven't paid rent since right before COVID and during COVID. And he still hasn't been able to get them out.
Andrew K says, so the takeaway for this story is to not buy properties in Brooklyn or not to rent to Section 8?
Well, I haven't kicked out a Section 8 tenant in like 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know why you
I don't have a problem not renting a Section. I don't have a problem renting to Section 8.
Me neither.
Because those people go through the same exact vetting process as anyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for more of course, I want to make sure that people could afford to pay it, that they have good credit, or they're not sexual offenders. I don't want that, right? But I'm also looking for a personality trait. If you're a drama queen or a person who creates drama instead of trying to figure out a resolution, I don't want you. I don't care how good your credit is or how high your income is, or if you're Section 8 or not. I'm looking for people that when things happen, because things are going to happen that are beyond my control, even like an act of God, let me in and fix it. Don't fight with me. Don't restrain me. Don't say, oh, you got to come in on Saturday at 3:00, or you could only do the repair on Sunday. Yeah, that ain't happening. Then to live with what the problem is. I'm looking for problem resolution people, personality types.
Yes. I mean, I always ask them, look, are you a hard ass? You sound like you're going to be a hard ass, and I just don't want to deal with it. Yeah. If you just be friendly, but not a friend to your applicants and your tenants, you'll be fine.
Yeah, they're not my friends. And make sure
You better
The
be clear with that.
parameters of my relationship with my tenants are within the four corners of our lease. That's the parameters of our relationship.
So we got get your questions in quickly. Robert, would you take the bank to court over the house because most houses have broken chain of title? This means you can take the home via trust.
I've never done that. Have
I don't
you?
know.
Yeah,
No, I don't
I'm
know.
not sure what he's really asking, but
Me
from what
neither.
I think he's asking, I've never done it.
Hit that like button. Give Daniel Borrero a follow. We got one more question. Let's see. Why is this thing going like that? Derek. Andrew K. I know successful landlords that rent to Section 8. He doesn't because he's went through process. I haven't went through the process. Okay, cool. So round up, give us a follow. It is 50 people on here. It has been an honor talking to you. Anything else you want to leave with them, Dan?
No, listen, everybody, DanielBurrowJr.com. I have my YouTube channel on there, Instagram. Please follow Kris Haskins and I. We do this every single Sunday night. Kris, man, I gotta congratulate you on that interview with Damon Dash, man. And I don't think I'm gonna give you your flowers again, man. I don't think people truly understand. Kris Haskins gets those interviews because Kris Haskins doesn't believe that people are going to say no. He understands they might say no, but he's going in there, right, Kris? But what if they say yes?
They might. They might say the whole time. I'm like, all I can do is ask. Dame Dad. I was like, it was a huge fish.
Yeah.
Might say yeah. It might say yeah, Dan.
What like and that's the mentality I think a lot of successful business people have. It doesn't matter if they're selling clothes, cars,
Real estate,
whatever that is, but what if I did this? What if that happens? What if this happens? So instead of thinking, what if I lose my money? How do you think about, you got to change that perspective and say, what if I make more money?
What if it made more money, right?
Yeah.
It was crazy, Dan, because
I got to tell you, man, I'm looking at your wife's face. It's like, look how happy she is.
You looking too happy here.
I'm in the room.
You looking too happy. The man designs his own shirt. His own clothing. He's got his own jewelry. He's got his own shoes, pants, sunglasses, Dan. He's like, I can't wear nothing for nobody.
And I agree with him, man. Kris, let me ask you, have you ever bought a jersey with another man's name on your back?
I never. Maybe when I was in high school. I used to like Bo Jackson and Michael Jordan. That was back in high school. That was the last time.
Bo Jackson, he was the man.
Bo was the man, dog.
What was the commercial? Be like Bo.
Be like Bo. Yeah. Bo knows.
Bo knows.
Bo knows this and Bo knows that. Bo don't know diddly.
Yo, he was the most humble athlete you probably ever want to meet.
Yeah, he's a monster.
But
he's a monster.
My point is, when I go to these football, I never went to a professional football game until it was about maybe 3 years ago. It was like 75 degrees out. It was a Sunday. The Jets were playing in the Meadowlands. I was like, damn, let me see how much these tickets are. And I got like last minute 50-yard line field tickets for like $75 a piece.
Holy cow.
I ran downstairs. I said, who wants to go to a football game? And my two sons said, I'll go. And I said, okay, so let's go. I ran back up and I bought the three tickets. So now we're walking to the parking lot, and all these men are wearing these jerseys with another man's back on them. So I walk into the store. I'm saying, how much are these jerseys? $119, $120.
Wow.
I'm like, so let me see if I got this shit right.
That's $10 for me.
Yeah, I'm like, let me see if I understand this. I'm thinking to myself. So you people walk in here, spend $120 on a jersey to advertise another man's team and wear another man's name on their back.
Yep.
Like, that shit'll never happen in my life.
No, I'm done with that. I'm done with that.
I wear any names on my back, it's my name.
It's gonna be Haskins. Yeah, me too. All right, listen.
I ain't advertising another man's business unless you paying me to advertise.
You paying me? Yeah, you. What my check at? Listen, y'all give us a follow tomorrow at 3:00. We've got my friend.
You got a question there?
Was it a question? Dan, no, somebody said she missed your Jersey City date. I don't know what that was.
Well,
tomorrow.
I will be speaking next Saturday in Jersey City. at the Radisson Inn in Marriott, New Jersey. Radisson Inn, I'm sorry, Resident Inn by Marriott in Jersey City from 2 to 4 on Saturday.
You gotta send me that. I can send it out for you.
Yep.
Well, we got my friend tomorrow, 3 o'clock. How to get started in mobile homes. My friend Stephanie, y'all. She's been dealing with an ill family member for the last 2 years, so she's finally got that taken care of. She's coming back to teach us this mobile home stuff. So make sure you're tuned into the channel at 3 o'clock tomorrow. I look forward to hanging out with you and learning this mobile home stuff. You ever did mobile homes, Dan?
I've done not a lot of them. Somebody just asked me about that today. I said, look, if the numbers make sense, do it. It's irrelevant if it's a mobile home or not.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. Plus, the numbers are so small. Dan, I'm starting to look at real estate like this. You know, if your numbers are astronomical, like you've got a few properties that are worth my entire portfolio, right? So for me,
But Chris, let's point something out to the audience. That didn't happen like where the reason they're worth that is because I bought them way back when. I started buying real estate in '89, right?
good Lord.
The thing with real estate is if you stay in the game long enough, as long as you don't sell, it continues to appreciate and continues to create cash flow. In my case, I'm looking to slow down, and this happens to be my least performing property, and that's why I'm looking to sell it.
Got it. Why is it not performing well?
It's just been a dog the last 5 years. That
From the repairs?
the repairs, the building is fully. I renovated that property in '91. Rather, 91 was it? No, I'm sorry. In 90, I started renovating in '99, finished it in 2001, and I would have finished it sooner, but I had that tenant that was driving me nuts. That's why I kicked her out, and it took me all that time to kick her out because it was New York City back then. But I've had to evict 3 commercial tenants and 1 residential tenant in the last 9 years, and not including all the money I've put into it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this property. You know, the most I'm going to take out of this property is $8,000 a month. I could take that money, put it in the bank, and make the same 8,000 without any of the work.
Nah, that's a good point.
Right?
You know what? I want people to know that there's some properties. I don't know, Dan. Let me ask you, from my experience, some properties are just going to give you problems the entire time you own them. I don't know. Is that just a thing?
It's finicky, yes. So I've had 2 properties like that. I had one.
No matter what.
I had one in Staten Island that was the best renovation work I've ever done in my life. Gorgeous drop dead property. Quality of tenants were horrible. Right? The quality applicants were devastating. It was a big shock to me. I did not calculate the quality, the lack of quality of applicants I would get in that area. I was totally wrong with it. I still made money. We still made about $400,000, but I only kept that building about a year and a half. No, about 4 years. I'm sorry, that's a different one. This one here I've had since 1999, and it's always been like I could go 5 good years with this property, and then have 5 bad years. Unlike my other properties where they're just good years every damn year.
I'm telling you.
Right. So properties are like people. They got their own personalities.
I've had one day that every single tenant only stayed for a year. I couldn't get them to stay, man. And I want everybody to know that you might get one of those properties. I think it's almost like the lemon coming off of the car lot.
Yeah.
Once in a while, you just, no matter what you do, and I've had other people, I've tried to deal with other people's properties. Like, you know what, this is just one of those. I've told them some properties, man, they're just going to be problems until you sell them.
Yeah. So this is one of those properties so I've had 3 commercial tenants that I've had to kick out.
Dang.
In the last 9 years, and 2 of them were like fist fight, bloody kick out. Like it was horrible.
Sure.
Then the last one, he owed me like 3 months, but he was real cool, dude. And I said, listen, bro, I'm going to get my property. And you remember, you personally signed for this lease, and I'm going to have to go after you personally. Or you could just leave, forget the 3 months you owe me, just give me the keys.
I like doing that, Dan.
And he said, you know what, Dan, me and you've been good for the last 3 years. It's not your fault. Here's the keys. I just want to release that you're going to release me from those 3 months. I said, not a problem. We wrote something up. We both signed it. He went on his merry-go-way.
Move on.
Yeah, he just moved on. I moved on, right?
That's how you win right there.
Right, with the residential tenant, this was a tenant I had rented to. She was there for like 9 years, paid her rent on time, never had a problem with her. Um, all of a sudden, I don't see her no more. But her mother and her father keep coming out of the house, and her brother. Now, this is a one-bedroom apartment. Then the brother has a kid, and the brother has a new girlfriend.
In the place?
Yeah, but the tenant says, "Nah, you can't tell me I can't have my own family stay over." The crazy part is that even though I was able to prove that they were living in there, not just sleeping over a couple of nights, the city of New York doesn't allow me to take anybody out if they're immediate family.
What?
Right.
That's embarrassing, man.
So now, but they're wrecking my apartment because
Yeah, how many showers is that?
one
Her,
shower.
parents,
Right. It's the
kid.
mother, father, a kid, the girlfriend, and the son. 5 people in a one-bedroom apartment. That's only
5 showers a day.
600 square feet.
A lot of wear and tear, bro.
A lot of wear and tear. And they're causing problems in the building because then the brother gets into problems. They chasing him home. They're trying to break the door to get to the brother. The brother was a real low life. So I eventually got them out, but it took me a year and a half to get them out. Right. So what I'm saying is the building has just been a dog. So
get rid of it.
It's time.
All right. Round up, homies. I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow at 3. Dan, how do they get in touch with you?
Link
what is it, USA?
DanielBarrowJr.com. All of my my websites there. All my social media links are there as well.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, guys. So if you want to subscribe to the channel, but also get on my email list so you know when all of our training is going to happen. Thanks, Dan. I'll see you next week, buddy.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right. Peace.